I don't know. I'd have got a copyright claim probably for the 3 seconds of Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, because it's fucking in. I've talked about this before. The censorship, etc. It's like 2 thumbs down because I complained about it the past few days. And why is it that nothing immediately changes when it comes to anything to do with whatever this is? Because I put my orders in with my heart to manifest heaven on earth. And what do I get? I get bullshit and bafflegab because I go and I post my videos and then immediately I get, like under YouTube, copyright claim because the radio was playing in the background. And other people on their YouTube channels have got the old albums of the LPs going around and around in the record player, and they play a full album like Pink Floyd, The Whole Dark Side of the Moon. And they got a whole pile of albums there on their YouTube channel. Why are they allowed to have official music that we listen to as kids from the radio everywhere, broadcast everywhere, but when it's not even, it's just in the background, and I get called for copyright infringement? Go fuck off. That is persecution. And I am being persecuted, clearly by YouTube. And they've already taken down my first channel, which had 3,000 videos on it, removed by big tech because of the censorship of me. Why? Well, whatever it is, I scare the pants out of the people of the 1%. Me, Bobby Burrows, I scare the pants out of them, and that's why I'm attacked. Because I'm about overthrowing them. The great revolution, freeing planet Earth from this fucking nightmare of this fucking 1% group, because that's what it is. If they are entrenched and refuse to modernize and have heaven on earth, then I guess it's just going to be a lot of fucking what? My intention versus theirs. And so far, their intention is what? Well, their intentionals are still to control YouTube and to what? Kick me off and keep me limited, shadow ban, using their demonic technological means of censoring and shadow banning me. So, what have they done? They've declared war on my throat chakra and my freedom of speech, because that's all to do with throat chakra, which is your innate energy system. So, they're fucking with me, my throat chakra. So go fuck you, you demonic fucking corporation. Because that's the way it is. You're fighting against my throat chakra. And my throat chakra is very strong. Because on the scale of human consciousness, I'm at 600. And the people at big tech are, I don't know, let's see if I can get a muscle test. They're over 200. They're under 200. 190. The pride of the demon Lucifer is what you have with YouTube. So YouTube right now, on this issue, calibrates under 200. The law, the galactic law, is to be at 540 or higher on the scale of human consciousness. So this corporation is a criminal corporation, according to galactic law. That's spiritual law. It's not religious law, it's spiritual law. And what are you and what am I? We are spirits having a human experience. Because that's what I was taught by my spiritual teachers. So, spiritual law overrides man's laws. Well, I don't know. It depends on who you've appointed to enforce your police. Because a lot of man's laws are not spiritual laws. They are laws of controlling us by the 1%. So yesterday I gave the example of, banks can create money out of thin air. Any economics course, college, university should talk about the money multiplier in economics. And they get to do it. But if you do it, it's called you're doing counterfeiting or kiting checks, which is fraud. Well, that's a 2-tier system where the 1% get to make money and charge it out in interest to all of us. But if we do it, we get thrown into prison. Fuck that. Fuck this exclusive. That's what it is. If you're rich, you get special rules to keep you rich. Well, fuck all that shit. And all that stuff that's in law, it's going to burn with the people who burnt it. I want to talk about Dr. Tungsten. No, it's Uncle Tungsten. Because it was a book by the same guy, Oliver Sacks, who wrote the book and made the movie, Awakenings. Robert De Niro was comatose for years and years and years. And then they gave him something, and then he woke up for a while, and then eventually he went back to sleep. But that particular author talked about his uncle, Uncle Tungsten, but he was probably a PhD in some kind of science, so we'll call him Dr. Tungsten of Science, Doctor of Science, Dr. Tungsten. Well, in the older style stoves, I'm being fucked with, or is it supposed to appear this way? I don't know, whatever it is. Tungsten elements on the top of a stovetop. So you turn the dial and it gets hot, low, medium, and hot. And those are electric stoves, so tungsten, if you ever took any electricity, I don't know. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, then it's revised. But tungsten is, it will transfer electrons through it, but at great resistance. It doesn't want electrons or electricity to flow through it. Tungsten. It's like, don't send that electricity through me. I don't want it, the comic book guy says from The Simpsons. I don't want it. But if you hook it up to enough voltage, 120 volts, when you plug it in, or a stove is 220, double, because it's off the two mains rather than a main and a ground. That's 220. We learned that in high school. Mr. McMahon at Sir Winston Churchill High School, now demolished, for no good reason, in my opinion, a waste of big fucking money. Huge waste of fucking money. And building a new fucking school when you've got these other three schools, why don't you move all the kids into one of those three schools? Agnew, Edgewater, and Sherbrooke. Why didn't you just move the kids in there if there wasn't enough enrollment? Why did you just close them and leave them empty buildings and build a brand new one and demolish Churchill? Because Churchill could have been, a community center for the people of Northwood. It's already built. Why did you demolish it? It was already there. Repurpose it. Don't waste fucking money. Go make up some bullshit story that somehow that the foundation was rusting because it was built on, because you didn't tear down Northwood High School, now known as Dennis Franklin Cromartie High School. Is it still hot? Whatever it is, who cares about the minutia, fuckface? Who cares if I'm swearing, David Burrows, you stupid fuckface? Who cares about whether I'm fucking swearing like a man does, you cocksucking asshole fuckface? That's for my dad. He's a fucking piece of shit. Anyways, that's the way I feel. The way I feel is we waste an unbelievable amount because that was the excuse they gave for tearing down Sir Winston Churchill, that the foundation was rusty. But it was built at the same time as Northwood High School, Dennis Franklin Cromartie, and that building is still standing. And if you look at FWCI, abandoned high school, their beautiful building that should have been repurposed for the community, it's still sitting there. I don't know, because we have a huge homeless problem. And, when you sell these things off and you eventually convert Hillcrest High School by, Zanetti, he lived across the street from my folks. I can't help you out because it's only for rich people, the repurposing of that high school. 2 thumbs down on that idea because... Anyway, that's the way I feel. Am I angry? I don't know. I'm trying not to come across as angry, but I'm beyond angry at the stupidity, the lack. There's nobody who gives a damn about Thunder Bay. It's only rich people trying to figure out how to make themselves richer and ignoring the plight of the people that, aren't rich. So, 2 thumbs down on all this fucking shit. This unbelievable waste of money. Because then they get some, a Brandon high school guy say, well, I want a new high school. I can't help you out. Even in high school, that millions of dollars are a lot of man hours in Thunder Bay paying taxes to put millions of dollars into Tom Jones' pocket. Because that's what that is. It's a make-work project for, the tradespeople. Well, go fuck off, tradespeople. Seriously, an unlimited MasterCard that says taxpayers of Ontario or whatever, because it's always some bullshit thing. Well, the school falls under Section 93 of the Constitution Act because you change the 3 to an E, and then education, and it's the province, so Section 93 is provincial powers in the Constitution, because I remembered that little trick from economics with Mr. Securus in about 10th grade at Churchill. We did learn civics from Mr. Securus. So don't fucking tell me that you don't know that shit. You do, fuckfaces. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, because it's gone so fucking bad. It's gone so fucking bad. It's a runaway train of corruption and of illogic and irrationality and huge fucking bills run up on somebody else's regime. Because it ain't my regime. I never ran that shit show. So we're going to call it all odious debt. And you can go look it up, ODIOUS. And it's, whatever it is, it's a reason to say, fuck you, we're not going to pay this enormous fucking government debt run up by Justin Trudeau in order to gift it to the Kielburger brothers of MeWe, or the like. Imperial Oil got like, I don't know, $400 million, $500 million during COVID. Air Canada gets like that much too or more. Why are enormous corporations getting hundreds of millions of dollars tax-free grant from Justin Trudeau? But they did. It's right there. You just go and use your Googleizer and you'll see. Because he just wrote a check on your MasterCard and he sent you the bill and me the bill. And it's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, because you're an illegitimate shit demon. And everything to do with G and the government is like what? 2 thumbs down, because there's no oversight over these fucking checks. Who announces who wins the fucking election? The fucking news media. Who actually needs to go and count the votes? Because before all votes are even tallied, they tell you that so-and-so won the election. So it's rigged, folks. We got a phony baloney. Everything is fake. Because it's horrid. Anyways, I'm simply going to continue to speak my truth. My truth is, fuck all of this fucking garbage. And those fucking garbage people are going to have to go and answer. Because spiritual universe and spirits doing fucked up, shitty, fucking cruel, unusual, horrific, horrible. Justin Timberlake song, what goes around comes around. So, I mean, I don't have to do anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm simply waiting for your karmic Miranda to manifest as whatever the fuck happens to you. Because I see karma and I see, what happens. And this is a huge cycle of, this abuse of power, it's called. And those people who are abusing power are going to be like, Uncle Tungsten. Because you can either get proactive and if you're whatever you are, get proactive. But if you are resisting change and going out of your way to resist change, the natural change that would happen with the evolution of our civilization, if you're resisting that and hanging on to an old movie called King Rat from like the 1950s, about, a prison camp and somebody figuring out how to become the king of the prison camp. Well, if that's your philosophy, and that's the philosophy of the 1%ers that want to stay rich, because we don't need that, because in 5D Earth, what we need comes to us manifested by higher consciousness. So, just get ready. And we can't help it because the course of human civilization is. The collective was at 2,000 years ago. And, I don't know, in around the year 1987, so you can just make a graph, 90, and in the year 1, time of Jesus, year 1 AD or whatever, 1, and then you go to go to 1987 and put in 203, and this is the graph on the scale of human consciousness, where we went from 90 to 203, and it took 2,000 years. Holy shit. It had this unbelievable long time, because the scale goes from 1 to 1,000. And Wayne Gretzky winning the Conn Smythe Trophy in the NHL in the playoffs, he's at 900. He's at 900 in flow, being the great Gretzky on the ice. That's a huge difference between 90 down here and 900 at Gretzky. So at the time of Jesus, people were unbelievable caveman at 90. Brutal cave people. That's what they were. But we did progress, and it's an upward path. And 87, we crossed from, this was the hard slogging, from 90 to 200, because that's all in negative territory. That's pure negativity. And we still manage to evolve through the most negative, negative, negative. And we got up in 1987 and we crossed into positive territory. Once you're in positive territory, then instead of being a straight line, a very hard, then you go up at an exponential rate. That's the description of the scale of human consciousness. Current explanation. So, if you're acting like tungsten, which is on your stove top cooker, that element is made of tungsten metal. It's kind of a metal and it's kind of not metal. It's one of those elements that I don't really understand because they didn't really talk about it in chemistry in Mr. Pierce's class in Churchill in those days. But, I know tungsten because you know what those things were like. They're not metal, they're not glass, but, I don't know, whatever you call it. But we know that if you put a lot of voltage on tungsten, electrons will move, and tungsten don't like to move those electrons through it. So what happens? Tungsten is like ornery. He's an ornery bull. A cow and a bull. A male cow is a bull. And, they're known for being ornery and, stubborn and difficult to move. But you put enough voltage on it and you can move it through there. And then what happens? Well, the current moves through and tungsten is complaining the whole time. It's like, fuck, I don't like it. And it gets hot. Because that electricity, whatever is going on there, it turns tungsten really hot. And that's why you use it, because every time you put electrical current through that thing, it's going to get hot. And you want it hot because you won't want to heat up a can of beans on the stovetop in a pot. So that's why it works. But, that's tungsten, and that's, something that, we use for that. But you're not made of tungsten, are you? No. But if you're resisting evolution, resisting everything, holding on to the past, back when we were negative territory, because really anything that, that was developed before 1987 is demonic. The banking industry was around way before, everything was before, so everything's got to be reevaluated. Because it's not 5D, it's not fifth dimensional Earth, it's old 3D Earth from the days when it was a hell world before 1987. Because the dividing line between hell and, I don't know if it really isn't that much different because we haven't changed, but, on the scale of human consciousness, we have moved. So we do expect major letting go of old shit from before 1987. You can look up, it's called the harmonic. The harmonic 1987 astrology shift of the ages, maybe they would say mass meditations, power of intention. Margaret Mead, the cultural anthropologist, said, it's basically a small group of people with intention who changes the world. Why? Because that's the way it's always been. So the small group of people around 87 were doing mass meditations, and meditation does raise consciousness. And that's why we recommend everybody do it all the time. Well, so you start off intentionally doing it, and then over a period of time it becomes natural, and then you're in a natural meditative state. Mindfulness is what your psychiatrist might call it, a state of mindfulness. Because you get it. Once you focus and focus and focus, you get it. It's like when you first learned to ride a bike. The very first time you're riding a bike, it's kind of scary because it's very tippy and you might have training wheels and you're small and the bike's maybe too big for you. But you're a kid and you're courageous and you might have a fall, but you might not. With training wheels, you probably won't. And then, after a while you get the hang of it and it's like the training wheels are like a hindrance to you turning, so you take out training wheels off now. And then you go. So it takes intense, focused, your mind focused on helping your body, because you're doing muscle memory training for your mind body. But once you've got it in there, I don't know, you've ridden bikes for a few years when you're a teenager or whatever, you're a kid, I don't know, when you're 37 years old, you should be able to pick up a bike in a foreign city, and still, the muscle memory is still there, because you and the body put the effort into learning how to ride a bike many, many years ago. Okay, so back to Dr. Tungsten. If you're resisting change, for whatever reason, you have turned your physical body into tungsten because there's a current, and the current is moving into progress and evolution and higher consciousness for the whole collective, everybody going into higher consciousness. So, leaving the bottom end of the scale of human consciousness. And remember, galactic laws, you need to be at 540. That's unconditional love. And 600 above that is peace. So when you always say rest in peace about dead people, no, they die, and whatever their level of consciousness, low level of consciousness is, that they might die and then become the hungry ghost that you hear about, like all these stories about ghosts and hungry ghosts. Hungry ghosts have got a huge appetite and a big mouth, an unbelievably small throat. So they got a huge desire to fill their huge belly and a huge mouth that blah, 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 never stops. But, they can't get enough food through here because they got a little tiny throat and they're always hungry. And then that turns, they were gluttons in this life, and then they're gluttons as, I don't know, you can look more into hungry ghosts. It has a lot to do with opioid addiction as well. Gabor Mate's book is about the realm of the hungry ghost, about the opioid crisis that lasts decades and decades and decades and decades in the lower mainland. Vancouver, BC, the downtown east side. Never-ending story about opioid addiction. Why is it not fixed? Well, I don't know. To raise the spiritual solution to everything is to meditate and raise your consciousness. Because if you don't know, don't go looking for it in a book or on the internet. You just go quietly, and it's a question on the table that you're looking for an answer for, and it might come later on in the day, or it might take 6 months, or it might take 6 years, it might take 60 years. But it's one of the questions that you've got, and if certain questions have got to be gifted to you, the answer is just not in words, in like 5 words. Sometimes you've got to have a huge experience in order to fully understand what the question is about and what the answer is about. And you might need a lifetime for a simple question, whatever it is, like, what am I? But anyways, you're not you're not tungsten. I mean, why are people fucking with me when I'm doing this? Because that's what it is. It's people using their intention to stop me from talking. That's low vibe tribe, and that's old control drama from old 3D Earth. And those people that are doing that are calling their last name Tungsten. Because I'm running a lot of energy through me, spiritual energy, chi. And I have, for decades and decades, long before I ever came back to Thunder Bay, when I was doing it in BC, because that's my job. And the more energy, it's not just me, you just can't get rid of me, you can't, because there's a zillion people like me. Anybody who is at 200 or higher in the scale of human consciousness is running chi. And a lot of people that might be watching this video are unconsciously doing it. You're not aware, but you are. And if you're over 200, it's positive chi. And it's being grounded into what we call, earth plane. What you see here, into the earth ground, what we think, and, all around us. The field, the quantum field around us, that everything manifests in. And every day, every moment, we're adding more and more positive chi into our environment. And a lot of it is bottled up behind a huge Hoover Dam. I don't exactly know why, but, it's just that there was a lot of these control structures from old 3D Earth that are holding all this stuff back. And it's all good stuff. It's good chi, which means good manifestations. And good manifestations mean more beautiful to us. Earth, more beautiful experiences. Who doesn't want that? Easier on us. No more traumatic incidents. No more somebody triggering some old memories of old trauma. Because that's what I do too, as a healer. I don't do one-on-ones, but no, I don't do it. I do it on me. Because I feel the horrible, horrible energies here, and it's called internal, my chakras pick it up, and then I've got to do chakra balancing. And when I balance out my chakra is directly connected to the quantum field of whatever it is. So my throat chakra, and I'm getting coughing fits and I can't sing or something, and I said somebody's fucking with me, horrible, horrible. Well, my chakra balancing is those people who are doing whatever else are in the negative. They're in the negative part of the scale on the human consciousness, very low vibe, because they want to hurt people. So, all the chi is in the environment, and it's positive chi. And it's going to run through you anyway as a physical form. But if you're holding on to these negativities from the low end of the scale of human consciousness, where people do horrible, vindictive things, mean girls are there. The Heathers and Mean Girl movies, those are low on the scale of consciousness. And if you're plugged in to doing evil shit, then all the chi in the environment that's positive is going to come through you, and you are going to be the tungsten element. So you are going to feel the incredible pressure of you holding on to these evil intentions. So the wise thing to do is get ahead of the curve and just say, I call back all of my intentions, whatever they are, and I call back all of my energy, whatever it is, to right here in my heart. Don't put it in your head or anywhere else. Put it in your heart, because your heart can handle it, and all these other things are going to go and distort your chakras even more. Because that's a safe place to put it. That's a safe place to connect to people, heart to heart. Famous TV show, heart to heart. And that's what they're talking about, heart to heart. Get ahead of the curve, because we are on it. It's not a straight line curve like it was in the negative territory. It's an exponential curve. So every day, you remember that? It's not straight line. It goes like this, and all of a sudden it goes straight up like that. Hockey stick or something. Exponential growth in heaven. So all of these control structures are, well, they must be mighty strong to hold back 5D Earth, but, they can't hold out forever, because they're based upon old thinking that's incorrect. It's still manifesting, but we see many signs that, things aren't the same way as, so many years ago. I don't know, 11/11, I don't know. 20 years ago, it was commonly seen and remarked upon that we see 11/11 on clocks. 20 years ago. So, and we were told in 1969, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the song by the Fifth Dimension. So an age, that's a zodiacal age of, is it 22,000 years? Moving from the age of the zodiac of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. A sea change in astrology. Wouldn't we expect a sea change in our manifestations? Yes. Some people say we were leaving the Kali Yuga of horrible, and going into a golden age in the Vedic system. I don't know, because it's hard to confirm it all, because some people conflict with other people, and in the end, who is the actual expert? But Age of Aquarius is where we are, so we should expect to drop a lot of old Piscean energy, which was toxic masculinity. Anything to do with toxic masculinity is Piscean, and it's got to go. So the men, especially the men, no, because a lot of women are the women who run with the wolves, who are called the men. And some of the biggest wolves are, women, represented by Queen Elizabeth II of England. I don't know, that's your head cheese, and she's a female, and she's toxically masculine. Why? Because her whole governmental system, everything is toxic masculinity. It's Machiavelli from 1500 on how to control a population, not through love, but through fear and intimidation and torture and killing and, secret police spins other balls and other things. So anyways, that's what's going on. And it's 28 minutes in, so we'll consider this a half an hour lesson. If you watched it, then you'll get credit. And if you didn't watch it, hopefully you got it through the field as a claircog, something for you to have whenever it comes through for you.